Bog! It's been over 3 years now since I moved to Croatia, and I can finally say this with confidence. Govorim hrvatski. No, I haven't passed any official exams yet. I hate exams, let's be honest, but I guess at some point I'll have to pass one. But I've taken some online tests, and unfortunately, I couldn't find any test that would be like similar to other languages. There are tests for B2 max. They have questions for B2 level, and I can answer them with confidence. But more importantly, I can have good conversations with people. I can watch movies and TV shows. I can watch YouTube videos. I can read in Croatian and understand most of it by now. Yeah, and I can speak, which is more important for me than any certificate or language exam. I'm really happy with my Croatian today, and I've actually made a video about a year or 2 years ago. You can check it out here, where I shared the tools and resources I use in my Croatian learning journey. But by now I've discovered much more tools, resources, and I've got more tips and recommendations to you on how you can learn Croatian faster and in a more fun and interesting way. So definitely stay till the end. And before we start, just don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel if you are into languages, self-improvement, and you want to see more videos about Croatian or Croatia maybe. I'd be happy to have you here. So before you jump right into learning Croatian, there are a few things you need to know. And first of all, that Croatian is a Slavic language, which means grammar. Yes, it's hard. There are cases, 7 of them to be exact, verb aspects, gendered nouns, and that lovely sentence structure that sometimes doesn't make sense until it suddenly does. For me, as a native speaker of 2 other Slavic languages, Russian and Ukrainian, and as a person who likes languages, Croatian is not that hard. I'd even say it's easy for me. However, I totally understand that for speakers of other languages it must be harder. If you're a native English speaker, it's going to be really hard. Maybe speakers of Romance languages will find it a bit easier, but still, if you're not a native speaker of a Slavic language, this is a hard language to learn, and the grammar, it's not easy. But, and this is a big but, it's totally learnable. So you don't have to master all of the grammar to speak Croatian. You just need to be brave enough to try and try your best, let's say. So just don't neglect Croatian grammar. You'll have to learn about all of these 7 cases, noun genders, verb conjugations, verb aspects, because there are perfective and imperfective verbs. But I'm sure you'll do very well with time. You'll just need a lot of practice with this. But also don't overcomplicate it for yourself. We'll talk about how to learn grammar a bit later, but now another thing you need to know. In case you are going to move to Croatia and try to learn language here, you'll find that most of Croatians speak English very well. So don't rely on English too much. I mean, you can survive with English only and it's great for daily life, but in case you are trying to learn the language, it can be dangerous because you will have to create those situations for yourself where you have to use Croatian. Next thing, get used to the dialects. Croatian is different from some other Slavic languages. For example, if you learn Russian, you'll use it all over Russia and other Russian-speaking countries. There are almost no dialects. I'd say it's pretty much the same everywhere. But for Croatian, yes, it's a small country, but we have 3 different dialects here. The names of these 3 dialects come from the word what in Croatian. We have što, kaj, and cha, and accordingly we have Shtokavian, Kajkavian, and Čekavian dialects. Now, Shtokavian dialect is the one you'll learn from the textbooks because this is standard Croatian, which is used where I live, the region of Slavonia, some parts of Dalmatia, and Zagreb area. And we have 2 more. Kajkavian, which is also used in Zagreb area, in Varaždin and Zagorje region. And we have Čekavian, which is used in Istria and also some parts of if I'm not mistaken. Now, one more thing. Croatian is not Serbian or Bosnian or Slovenian. Yes, they might sound similar at first, but they are different languages with different identities, so we have to respect that. However, at the same time, there is a huge advantage in learning one of them. We're talking about Croatian now. If you learn Croatian, you can travel to Bosnia, Serbia, and you'll be able to speak with people there and understand them pretty well, especially if you learn Štakavian dialect, because all four Croatian, Bosnian, Serbian and Montenegrin are based on the Štakavian dialect. In the past, it was one language which was called Serbo-Croatian, but now there are four different languages. And if you learn one of them, it will be much easier to understand the rest. They are almost mutually intelligible. There are some differences in grammar, and then in Serbia they also use Cyrillic writing, but for the most part, you would understand a lot from other languages. And also, there is an advantage in this because there are not so many resources available in Croatian, unfortunately. So if you don't have enough, you can borrow from Bosnian and Serbian because you will really find a lot of similarities. And I actually use some resources like YouTube channels, maybe podcasts from Bosnia or Serbia to improve my Croatian as well, because the languages are quite similar. Now, if you're learning Kaikavian or Čakavian dialects, they are much more distinct from other languages, Serbian, Bosnian, than Štakavian dialect. So maybe if you are going to move to Croatia and live here, or depending on your goals, just see which dialect is better for you to learn. I'd say wherever you decide to learn, if you learn Štakavian, you're good, you'll be understood all over Croatia. But if you are going to live in Istria or maybe Dalmatia, just see which dialect people speak there and maybe try to adapt your resources accordingly and learn this dialect. Another thing you need to know is that Croatian is entirely phonetic, meaning once you learn the alphabet and you learn how to pronounce each letter, you can pronounce any word basically, which is amazing. I love languages like that, much easier than English in this way. However, what might be really difficult is trying to pronounce all those words that have no vowels in it, and Croatian has quite a lot of words with no vowels in it, and even for me it's difficult sometimes because in Russian or Ukrainian we don't really have a lot of words like that. Now, I guess that's all the basics you need to know before you start learning Croatian. Now let's move to the resources that will help you learn Croatian. And here I have some good news. If you are just starting to learn Croatian, and even if you don't live in Croatia, you can take free online course from Croaticum, the University of Zagreb. They have A1 and A2 courses, so definitely check them out. They are pretty nice and I used them when I just started learning Croatian. However, they are designed only for English and Spanish speakers because the instructions are available in those two languages. The next website you could use is easycroatian.com. You can find short dialects with transcripts and audio there. It's free and it's pretty good for beginners. The next website is Learn Croatian EU. If you go on there, you'll find grammar lessons, vocabulary, structured dialects there, and you can even take a language test on this website for free. There are also paid lessons and group lessons, but there are also free tools that you could use. Next tool is Losan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but this one is super basic. You can find phrases, basic phrases with pronunciation, which is super great for travelers or total beginners to learn some basic phrases in Croatian. The next tool is Here for Europe, I guess. Here you can dive into Croatian culture a lot. There is a nice map with like borders, cities, culture, events, people and so on. You can click on each region and listen and read about something interesting there. Next website is learncroatian.com, where you can also find some grammar explanations. You can find some cultural interesting things there, and I guess they also have a YouTube channel with YouTube lessons. Another underrated website is called Takolako. This is a site made by a linguist with grammar, with exercises, with dialects, with transcripts, so definitely check this out. A lot of useful exercises that you can practice with. Now, if you like more old-fashioned way of learning languages and you want to get yourself a textbook in Croatian, I recommend you a textbook from Croaticum, Razgovarajte s nama. This is a really nice textbook. You can get a student's book and a workbook where you can practice your grammar, your vocabulary. There are a lot of exercises with answer keys that you can check yourself with them. These textbooks is basically made for Croaticum courses, I believe, and they teach you using those textbooks. So they were created to use with a teacher, and if you use it by yourself, you'll find yourself sometimes a bit maybe bored and nobody to speak with, because you'll have to answer some questions. You're supposed to have dialects there. This is a textbook. I guess if you learned any language previously, you know how it works. But what I did is I sometimes would take a picture of this textbook, a page, yeah, and send it to ChatGPT and ask it to teach me following this textbook page. And it would ask me questions. I'd speak to ChatGPT sometimes. But I only used a textbook for B1 level because it was most useful for me this way. Now I do not need it anymore, and I practice grammar differently, again using AI. Also, a nice dictionary you can use for Croatian is Codict, which has Croatian English and Croatian German dictionaries. So if you use those resources, you'll be able to learn some basics in Croatian, and you'll probably reach A1 or maybe even A2 level in Croatian, which means we are ready to dive a bit deeper and start listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos. And here are some of my recommendations. From Easy Languages, we have Easy Croatian. They have about like only 22 videos. I guess it wasn't that popular. I don't know why they didn't continue doing that, but still you can watch those videos to try and listen to real everyday speech, because these are street interviews basically. Then there is Learn Croatian, the channel I was previously talking about when I was showing you the website Learn Croatian. And then if you want to practice Croatian, just try and look for YouTube channels in Croatian that you would enjoy watching. For example, I really love travel content, so I follow creators who post this type of content, and I watch Robert Daceshin. He is Bosnian, however he has lots of videos with Croatian cities and I mean countries, cities around the world he visited. This is quite an interesting channel. I enjoy watching it, and I'd say I understand most of it, and it helps me with my Croatian as well, because Štakavian Croatian and Bosnian are quite similar. Another good channel is Kamber Izam. He has some nice chill content about Croatian cities and towns and some other countries too, so check this out as well. Another interesting channel is Royal Croatian Tours. This channel is not that much about Croatian language, but about Croatia in general, about Croatian culture. It is held by a Canadian woman. I believe they're a Canadian Croatian family. So she moved from Canada and her husband is Croatian, if I'm not mistaken, and they're doing those videos about Croatia, Croatian culture. If you're an English speaker, if you're from Canada or from America, that would be especially interesting to you. So I highly recommend you watching this channel. And if you're into news, you can check RTL channel, which has short videos with news episodes in Croatian, which is also really useful when you are learning the language, and for kind of learning new vocabulary, it's really good. So now you know some Croatian words, right? You have dictionary, you have ChatGPT after all. Just type in Croatian whatever you want to watch. Like if you're into fashion, try Moda u Zagrebu, I don't know, whatever you want to watch, just type it in Croatian into YouTube search bar and try to find YouTube channels that would give you some videos in Croatian for this topic. Maybe it would be Bosnian or Serbian, which could also be useful. I actually once wanted to find yoga channels in Croatian to practice yoga and combine it with my Croatian learning. And I found a yoga, like I wrote it like yoga with Croatian yi, but the channel was actually Slovenian, and I was practicing yoga. I would understand half of it, let's say, but still I was like, what are these words? Like, I don't understand. And then I realized it was Slovenian, not Croatian. So be careful about that. Maybe check the country where the video was filmed, because some words are similar, and if you type, I don't know, yoga or moda, maybe you'll find Bosnian or Serbian or Slovenian channels instead of Croatian channels. But yeah, to make it even more accessible and easier for you to practice Croatian, I highly recommend you use Language Reactor. This is a free Chrome extension that will allow you to watch YouTube videos with dual subtitles in English, for example, and Croatian. And if you need to translate any word, you can just hover and you'll see the translation of the word. You can even save it to your list. This is really useful. I'm using it for other languages as well. Language Reactor is a super useful extension and a tool for learning languages, so definitely check this out. I highly recommend it for you, plus it's free, so it's amazing. Now, apart from YouTube videos, we can also try podcasts in Croatian. And by the way, if you're just a beginner, there are two podcasts I would recommend you. The first one is Let's Learn Croatian podcast. It's slow and clear with explanation in English, so perfect for beginners. And another beginner-friendly podcast is SBS Croatian podcast. And if you're a bit more advanced, of course, you have way more choices. And my personal recommendations are Neka nova priča. This is a podcast about self-growth, self-improvement, mindset, so things I enjoy listening to, and I listen to it not only to practice Croatian, but also to grow my mindset, let's say. I really like this podcast. And another podcast is Podcast Incubator. It's casual, but it's pretty fast, so I'd say it's maybe great for passive listening practice, and there are different topics, so check this out if you like things like that or not. But again, if you want to find a good podcast that you'd enjoy listening to, try looking for the topic you're interested in Croatian, and you are most likely to find something you'd want to listen to. And the last part for the resources would be for movies and TV shows. Croatia is not some kind of a big movie or TV shows production, but still we can find something for ourselves. I'll give you my personal recommendations again, and the first one is Crno-Bijeli Svijet. This is a TV show which is like nostalgic series set in the 80s. It's really fun and entertaining to watch. You'll get a lot of everyday speech there, so definitely check this one out. Now, you know how everybody recommends watching Friends to learn English? For Croatian, we can watch Bitange I Princeze. This is a sitcom in Croatian. And another one, if you use Netflix, you can find The Paper or Novine on Netflix. It's a Balkan newsroom drama, so great language, urban themes, great TV show to practice Croatian, and maybe you'll enjoy the TV show as well. So before we wrap up this section, I really want to share a few things that helped me learn Croatian. They are not textbooks or websites, but they really made the learning process smoother, easier, and more fun for me. First is try using Tandem app. Croatians use this app, so you'll find people wanting to learn your language, and you can practice real-life Croatian with people on there. This is an amazing app for speaking practice. Or you can always hire a tutor. I personally didn't really need a lot of speaking practice on the apps or online because I live in Croatia, so I get enough of speaking practice here. But if you don't live in Croatia, definitely try this out. Another thing I already mentioned, but really try Language Reactor Chrome extension. You can slow down the audios with it. You can click on the word to see the translation. You can save words for later. It's really, really useful. It's helpful, like it speeds up your learning process. It's not only for Croatian, it's for any language. Then don't be scared of grammar. If you make grammar mistakes, everybody will understand you, so it's okay. Try speaking as much as possible. Try practicing language as much as you can, and don't be afraid to make a grammar mistake or don't overthink our grammar. However, do practice grammar because it's important. And the last thing is use AI or use ChatGPT, like seriously. It helped me so much. I use it in 4 main ways that I'll share with you. The first one is whenever I read or watch something in Croatian and there are words that I don't understand or don't know yet, I send it to ChatGPT. And I ask it to structure those words for me and create a list with the word and translation and the example where I can use this word. And I ask it to create it in the exact format that I can import it into Quizlet, which is an flashcards app. And it makes the process so much easier. Like I don't have to do all of that manually, writing it down. I just send the word to ChatGPT, it structures it for me, and I get ready flashcards to practice new vocabulary from the video or from the book I've been reading. Another way I use it is for speaking practice with the voice mode. So sometimes there are words I want to practice in speaking, and ChatGPT voice mode is a quick way to do that. So I do it sometimes. However, I must say Croatian has some glitches sometimes there, and maybe it switches to Serbian because of the way I speak, I don't know, but it has some weird accent sometimes, but still it's usable. I also use ChatGPT for grammar explanations. For example, if I learned some new words today, I would ask it to create grammar exercises for the topic that I am still weak in and I need to practice it using those new words. So I'd practice grammar and new vocabulary at the same time doing this exercise that ChatGPT creates for me. Now, we all know ChatGPT can make mistakes. So are people. Even if ChatGPT will make mistakes and you learn something wrongly sometimes, it's fine because it can happen even if you study with tutor or with a teacher. Doesn't matter. You can learn some incorrect words, you can learn some wrong information. But if we compare how much useful information it gives us and how many times it makes mistakes, I'd say that there are way more useful information and things you can learn. And another way I use ChatGPT, I actually follow Croatian creators on social media, and sometimes I go to the comment section to see what people say and how they communicate, like on social media, to learn some slang words, to learn everyday speech that I wouldn't learn from the textbook. And sometimes it's hard for me to understand it. I have no idea what these people say or mean, and translator or dictionary will not give you anything. So I just screenshot the comment and I send it to ChatGPT and I ask it, please explain this comment to me, not translate, but explain. And it gives me the context, it gives me the explanation of every word and of why the person wrote it this way, if it was slang, if it was sarcasm, if it's a positive or a negative comment, and so on. And it's amazing, like it's a lifesaver for me because this way I understand all the comments and I can participate in the discussions actually. So definitely try this out. ChatGPT is really good with all this slang and everyday speech. It explains everything pretty good and I love it for that. So yes, don't underestimate how helpful AI can be in language learning. It really saves time and makes it so much more interactive. So these were my tips for learning Croatian, tips, resources, recommendations, everything I could think of, I put it into this video, and I hope if you're on your Croatian learning journey or you are just starting out, it was helpful for you. If so, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and let me know in the comments if you're learning Croatian. If you have some tools or resources recommendations for learning Croatian, drop them in the comments below. I'd really love to see them as well. And thank you so much for watching. Hvala svima na gledanju i želim vam ugodan dan. Vidimo se. Bog!